All right, hello everyone. Today I want to go over OpenCode. OpenCode is a TUI app and one of these coding agents that is open source and multi-provider. In my opinion, one of the best is out there right now, and one of the ones that I use the most. I tend to alternate between OpenCode, Pi, and Droid as my main drivers daily, and I prefer OpenCode the most for many reasons that we'll get into over this video. I also think that people should try it out if they want to learn more about how these things work specifically. So OpenCode is again, an application. You can install it and run it in the terminal, just like this. Once you have it open, uh, once you have it open, you can connect providers. So you can see all of the different providers that I have connected. I have my personal provider that is running at home. So you can see here, this is my home lab provider, and I'm running all of these different models related to GLM. They have ZAI, Hugging Face. They have the coding plans. They support Kimi. They support Minimax. They support also the GPT subscription. And so much more. It is an excellent product, and I would say it's probably the most visually appealing as well. So I would like to show what I mean by that, and we can start with Minimax. I'm 2.1 via their free plan, or I'll just do it via this one. So hi, I want you to review this repo and describe it to me. So as you can see, it is very visually appealing compared to other terminal applications. I would say the Codex extension is nice, but the Codex TUI is really not that pleasant to look at. Same with Claude Code. I don't find them to be visually appealing, and I also find them to be very cluttered. And their features tend to be like hit or miss. So Codex has very few features, Claude Code has way too much, and that kind of hurts the experience. But with OpenCode here, you could see essentially what it is doing. It is calling all of these tools and telling me about all this. So I can then go back and forth with it. I haven't comprehended, that's okay. Please create machine state diagrams for me to understand. And so why did I gravitate towards this app? This is an important question. So I started my own like home AI lab, which is just like 8 GPUs that I've been running experiments on. I've been using them to code, and I wanted to get those GPUs working in the tools that I like. And so I set it up with Claude Code, and I can actually show that off right here while this is running. So Claude. Well, I don't need to do dangerously skip. I could do Claude ZAI. I don't know if it's still, yeah, it is. So you can see it's configured with GLM, but it just, I don't know. I don't like switching the models here. I have to like make a new Claude Code instance for each one of these different models that I want to use it with, and it just became a pain to manage. And so I decided I want to go with something that is a little more robust and that allows me to switch between models at any time. So you can see here, I could just open and go to a new model, and we can say GLM 4.7, which I tend to use a lot as well. You can favorite models, and you can swap them during the middle of a conversation. They have these concepts of like agents, and agents are just essentially like a spec around a model. You have a model plus a description and like a markdown file and a name. And there you go. You could see that it's creating these visuals. Now, what I like the most about this is the architecture of it. So when you launch a OpenCode session, it essentially starts a server in the background, exposes it on a port, and then starts a TUI. And then you can swap it to a desktop app or a web app. Or you can communicate with it from your phone. You could set it up to listen on your Slack, and it is just very hackable and visually appealing to like spend all day in this. I don't find that to be so much of a pain versus like sitting in Claude Code, which I tend to not really enjoy the design of. Now, this is like I said, an excellent tool, and it allows you to build plugins, and these plugins can essentially expand the use cases of what you are doing. So if you want to, let's say, autosave something, or you want to run tests, linting, whatever it is that you want to do, can you make it visual now and save it in a in a markdown file for me? So now that you guys know what OpenCode is and how it works, I think we can talk a bit about why I believe this is going to be one of the most important tools moving forward, at least in the open source sphere. It is specifically the server HTTP architecture that they went with. It allows you to set up an agent essentially anywhere. As long as you have the port, you have an API key, whatever, that agent can then go and do things. And it doesn't need to be tethered to a UI, which I believe moving forward, we're going to have more and more agents running that aren't necessarily visible directly from a UI. Maybe you can only interact with them via another agent, etc. And what this is going to allow us to do is build very novel types of applications. With Claude Code, you could do that with the agents SDK that they have, but the fact that you are essentially stuck with Claude, the model, I would say is a big problem. Because Claude has its strengths and has its weaknesses. This is also another reason that I think it is very important to have tools like OpenCode, which is the models, the underlying models themselves. So with my favorite models, like the open source ones are Minimax and GLM, and the frontier closed source labs are Claude and GPT, and then we have Kimi also, which is very good. What tends to happen is they are specialized in like certain behaviors based on how they were trained. So with GPT, we'll have a very slow model. It'll read a lot of files. It tends to try to hone in on a very specific amount of lines of codes that it's going to switch. So it doesn't want to do too much. It also is better at like essentially telling the truth in terms of what it's done, where it's at in a process. That's not the case with Claude. With Claude, it wants to please you. It's very fast. It kind of does a lot of stuff, but it never does anything to a level of satisfaction that you might find needed. Minimax and GLM have a similar pattern to them. GLM tends to be more like trustable in terms of truth because it runs for longer periods of times, reads more files, and it does more thinking. And Minimax tends to do very good in agentic use cases, but it's missing some of that precision that comes with a larger model. I want to go over here also with, you can see here there's some features that are pretty rare to see. Let's see, architecture diagrams. We can open it here, and I want to do this. Let's see how many errors in the markdown it manage is to do. Open with, what the hell? I think we need to do this again. That is not what I'm trying to do. It's very strange. This is not working as well as I would have liked it to. I can look at it here at least, but it doesn't then render these charts, which is very annoying. All right, I'm just going to open it and leave it for now. But you could see here, like the visual design allows you to spend more time comfortably in the application. You could see the sidebar with the context and like how much is left and how much you've spent, what files have been touched. There you go, finally. I guess it's doing a lot. So this is an architecture diagram that was created by GLM and Minimax, for example. And you can see that they, running it inside of OpenCode is pretty simple. Now you have a bunch of different models, and if you run out of usage with one, you just switch to another one. So I would take Kimi then and tell it to do something else. So we can take Kimi K2 thinking and say add a review at the bottom of the diagram with your words and your mermaid diagrams. Okay. Excuse me, bad prompting. But you can see here that it is a pretty precise tool, and it allows you to run a bunch of models. Now, This is pretty important when you have like a full workflow that you want to get through. So you want to build out like a website, and then you want to make a new page, and you want to launch it in Docker. Maybe you want to do deep research while that's running. And if you can switch models pretty easily and have like 10 different sessions open, each one is on a specific port, then you can optimize the context that goes into a specific session. And you can have other models essentially reach out to it and communicate with it. So you could see here that each one of these is a session, and each one of these could be reached on an OpenCode server. And so you can have two OpenCode servers running at the same time, communicating with each other. You can have one essentially being a parent to another. You can have them doing this asynchronously. One can wake another up. And their SDK is really excellent. It has a lot of like different TUI application, TUI use cases, so you can put pop-ups, and it's just a very clean tool. And I think a lot of people are missing out on not using it. So I've made my own plugins, like for example, this orchestrator plugin. I call this project Orchestra. I'm just trying to figure out how to get these models to run for as long as possible, right? I want it to run 24 hours a day with very little intervention and have it remain on some form of track. And I tried to do this with Codex. I tried to do this with Claude. And you can kind of Ralph it, but the models, again, are missing like the full picture. But having a bunch of different ones with like different skills that complement each other can do pretty well. You could do fast coding with Claude, and then you can do like long running tasks with Codex, and then you can maybe do some agentic assistant support with Minimax. You could read docs with GLM. You can have conversations with Kimmy. And this reminds me a lot of T3 chat. So besides that, I would say, yeah, you can see here it has a broken diagram. But I would say that reading the docs for this is very important to understand what you can do with it. Because again, it is an extremely impressive tool, and I truly, truly enjoy working with it. I'm going to try to open it in the browser here. And let's see. I want to do Minimax M2.1, and I want to, so we could also look at like the different tools that they give you. You could do review. I have this remove slop. It just goes in and like removes old comments and makes the code more accessible. It checks dependencies. It checks issues on GitHub. It can commit, spell check. So sessions, I can switch between different sessions. I can switch between agents. I can check status, connect MCPs. Their theme system is really beautiful. I really like all of the themes that they have. And let's see one more thing. And excuse me if this is not so entertaining watching me go through this. You have init with, which is essentially the Claude init file, claude.md or agents.md in this case. And there you go. And you have Kimmy that just communicated. And you can see all of these were running inside of the same session. So you can just switch between them very, very easily. You can see the context at the top. It is a beautiful system. I hope that they continue to do what they're doing. I want you to read this repo and tell me what it's like. Yeah, it's checkpointing. I think if you want to build agentic systems, this is the application to go with because it is very agent first and then builder first as well, which I really love. Is that they are building for people that want to tinker, as opposed to, I would say, Codex, which it's a great tool, but it doesn't allow you to tinker like that. It doesn't allow you to go in and just change everything you want about it. I would recommend using this. I would try it out and run the free models. They give you GLM for free, and they give you Minimax for free, which I would say is a great deal. These are really, really good models that can basically be daily drivers and are better than Sonnet 3 months ago, better than maybe not better than GPT, but at similar levels. They have their flaws, but they're free to use. OpenCode is an excellent tool. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you again in the next one.